Robertson County Commission held their June meeting, a meeting of about 1 hour in the juvenile courtroom. We began the evening with the invocation by Commissioner Bobby Couts, and we were privileged this evening to honor former commissioner and former appeals board member Mr. Paul Bracey with a plaque of appreciation for 45 years of service. Mr. Paul was elected to the old quarterly court back in 1966 and served either in that capacity or as a member of the appeals board up until last year, so for a total of 45 years. So we're very grateful to Mr. Paul for what he has done. Reminded the commission that this coming Saturday, the 23rd, is a long-standing tradition in Robertson County. That's the big barbecue out in Martin's Chapel Methodist Church. So we hope that you'll come out from 4 to 8 and be a part of that. The library board members of Sherry Eden, Linda Thompson, and Mary Sue Head were approved without opposition. There were also 2 rezoning resolutions that were approved without opposition, and a couple of tweaks in the amending the zoning resolutions were also approved. There were also a number of rezoning resolutions, since this is the last meeting before the end of the fiscal year. There was a resolution to incorporate the money to replace a couple of security cameras at the main courthouse. The debt service of the trustee was incorporated into the budget. There was a transfer from the Industrial Development Board. There was also one to accept a gift to the courts of large screen TVs that can be used for the presentation of evidence, and I think that came partially anyway as a gift from the County Bar Association. There was no county money involved in that, and we very much appreciate that. There was also state money coming in to the County Election Commission so that monies would be present for this past March's presidential primary as well as the August county general election. There was a budget amendment for the schools in regards to school bus drivers. There was a resolution adopting a continuing resolution which basically says that we'll continue to operate on the FY 11 and 12 budget until a new budget is approved. County's fiscal year ends on June 30th, but we do not anticipate having a new budget in place until toward the end of August. And people I think sometimes wonder why we do not adopt a budget until sometimes 6 and 8 weeks past the end of the budget year. This goes back to the tradition of trying to have as accurate account as possible of how much money is actually in fund balance. So we should know down to the penny how much is in fund balance by that time. And when you hear pennies talked about in terms of county government, remember that 1 cent generates $125,000 in revenue. So when you equate pennies, that's what we're talking about. There was also a resolution to renew the county contract with the State Department of Health. If we are in contract with them, then we can receive a reduced rate in terms of the per diem when someone is sent for a mental evaluation. And then that led directly into resolution number 9, which was a budget amendment which was asked of us by the Comptroller's Office to deal with an outstanding debt of $69,500, which has been assessed to the county by the state mental health facility. One of the circuit judges sent an inmate on a misdemeanor charge for an evaluation back last summer. That person had been there for 156 days before the county was notified that that person was there. And going in, we had expected the person to be evaluated for 1 or 2 days, but instead of that, this person was treated for a number of weeks, or basically the entire summer. And we're concerned, first of all, that this is another instance of the state passing an expense down to the counties, but also because there was no gatekeeper in terms of making sure this person was evaluated and then discharged from the hospital. So we are now appealing this charge and hoping to have it greatly reduced and perhaps eliminated. So we have certainly asked the judges to help us stay on top of this to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And then toward the end of the meeting, I opened up the commission to a discussion of letters that I had received in recent weeks from Springfield City Manager Paul Nutting and White House City Manager Gerald Herman in regard to emergency dispatch. You may recall that 2 years ago, Springfield and Robertson County entered into an agreement to go in jointly to provide emergency dispatch from our new E911 Emergency Dispatch Center. The center is actually owned by E911. You pay for that in terms of your landline phone bill, but the county and city agreed to merge their dispatchers and to make them all City of Springfield employees, which meant that the county people who became city employees were given a pay raise and also a benefit increase to match them with the city workers. And about 2 years ago, we entered into this arrangement. In recent months, Robertson County has been under notice that Springfield and now White House feels that they are being unfairly assessed a fee, in other words, to help augment what the smaller cities and the volunteer fire departments are not paying for dispatch. So basically, the Robertson County will have to make a decision as to whether or not the county will fund dispatch for the smaller cities and the volunteer departments as we did prior to 2010, or what actions might be taken by the City of Springfield or City of White House in regards to that. This will obviously have budget implications. If the county had taken on the entire amount they were asked to take on this coming budget year, that would amount to $260,000. What I have proposed to the Budget Committee is for the county to assume half that amount in this coming fiscal year, or $130,000, with the understanding that all of the dispatch employees become E911 employees and therefore carve Springfield and the county out of any managerial responsibility for that. So that's something for the Budget Committee and for the full Commission to consider as we move toward adopting a budget in August. But I'm sure there'll be a lot more written and spoken about that topic as we move closer to the budget year. We are now just a couple of weeks away from the 4th of July. I hope that you'll have a chance to get out and enjoy the holiday with your family. There'll be lots of opportunities to do that. The opportunities that I am aware of is, first of all, the City of White House will be having their 4th of July festivities on the preceding weekend, or June 30th. Of course, the night before the 4th is always a big night in Greenbrier for the turning of the pig on July the 3rd. That starts just about dusk and goes well into the evening. On July 4th itself, there will be a ceremony at Kilgore Cemetery in Cross Plains at 9. The big Greenbrier Parade is at 10, and there's a barbecue after that. And of course, there are also a barbecue and music festivities in Adams that day, and then the culmination will be at Travis Price Park in Springfield. So a big 4th coming up soon. We hope that you and your family will find your place in those and enjoy this summer holiday. And we hope that you have enjoyed the time for the June Commission of the Robertson County Commission, and we expect to see you back in July.